There's a fable about a visitor to a city who saw three bricklayers and asked each of them what they were doing. The first replied, "I am laying bricks." The second replied, "I'm putting up a wall." And the third responded, "I am building a cathedral." Each bricklayer was doing identical work, but each one had a different story about what they were doing. Now, which one do you think was the most inspired and motivated? And the question to ask yourself is, are you laying bricks? Are you putting up a wall? Or are you building a cathedral? Because the stories that we tell ourselves about what we do, about our life, about other people, are really the lens through which we both see our lives and also enjoy our daily experience. Because we don't experience reality, we experience our stories about reality. Now, stories are patterns that help us to explain what's happening in our lives. We need them to give shape to all our unformed, passing thoughts and feelings. They often have a beginning, a middle, and an end, and they simplify our experience, but they're rarely complete or accurate. And we like to have simple stories based on black and white certainties, even if they can be misleading. We don't like ambiguity or complexity. We are meaning-making creatures. So we tell our stories to ourselves all the time. We have one to explain why our colleague seems quite angry today. We have another to justify why we didn't get that promotion, and another about why our partner should change their ways. We yearn to make sense of our world, and our brains crave coherence, consistency, and confirmation, often more than the truth itself. We're in many ways creating our own echo chamber. Now, you may assume that your feelings are arising from your current situation, such as your work, your relationships, or your health, but it is you that are creating your feelings, not the world outside, because the outer world is a projection of your inner world or your stories. And this is a big idea I really want to get across to you. It's your story that's making you happy or sad, focused or restless, motivated or disengaged. It's not your circumstances. It's not your work. It's not your relationships. It's not where you live or what you're earning this year. It's the tales that you tell yourself that largely determine the quality of your life. You might have a recurring story about your childhood, your relationships, or your career, that sequences important events, insights, and breakthroughs. It organizes your memories into a meaningful framework. It explains where you've come from, where you are now, and where you're going. Now, I often find that my clients' stories can be very limiting, and even position them as victims. They're often about feeling stuck, being trapped by their responsibilities, or even powerless to change. So stories can make or break you. And maybe you don't know your story yet, but I really want you to think about this, because a positive story can help you deal with uncertainty, overcome your anxieties, and provide a map for navigating your life. Because you're already creating a narrative about your life. So why not write a positive one that motivates and inspires you? You don't need to limit yourself with the old stories. You can create the future you want with new purpose, new meaning, and a new perspective. I have found that the right story is essential to good mental fitness. A positive story has the potential to change everything. So your practice this week is to ask consistently, what story am I telling myself? Are you telling yourself a story about what's happening, about other people, and about the situations you're in that is helping you or hindering you? Always consider an alternative interpretation. Look for an insight that will help you grow, and write a new story that will motivate and inspire you to be the best version of you. These sorts of questions can help. Do I need to change my behavior or my story? Do I need to change the other person or my story? Do I need to change my circumstances or my story? This is one of the biggest lessons I've learned. A good story leads to a good life. A good story makes us happier. It gives us a sense of well-being, purpose, and belonging. And when you change your story, you change your life.